Hey everybody, it's Ron and welcome back to Batman Book Club. Today I'll be talking about death in the family. This is a significant part of Batman's history because it involves the second Robin named Jason Todd, who took over after Dick Grayson left to join the Teen Titans and eventually he became Nightwing. Now, before we get into the Jim Starlin run that culminated with Death in the Family, I'd like to go back to the first appearance of Jason Todd in this continuity. And the reason I say that is because Jason Todd was already a character in the comics, but for those who don't know, there was a DC event called Crisis on Infinite Earths, and when that story concluded, Batman's continuity sort of started over in some aspects. So Jason Todd's origin was retold in Batman 408, which has the label The New Adventures on it. And it was a pretty simple story by writer Max Allan Collins, but a lot of things are definitely rushed through. For example, Dick Grayson is in the beginning of that issue, and he's fighting the Joker with Batman and gets shot or injured, I forget which, it's been a while, but Batman parts ways with him immediately, and I don't know, it was just very abrupt. Then it feels like no time passes and Batman is driving down Crime Alley on his way to pay respects to his parents, and that's when Jason Todd comes into the story and tries to steal the tires off of the Batmobile, which is a cool idea for a first meeting between Batman and the future Robin. Batman keeps coming into contact with Jason and finds out he's an orphan just like Dick, so it's not hard to see why he has a connection with him and eventually takes him in as the next Robin. They also rush his training with a montage of Batman showing him the ropes, and it says something like it took a couple years for him to fully come into his own as Robin. Now, from here, Jason starts doing some questionable things as Robin, and you start to realize that he has a very different personality. He has a temper, he doesn't listen to Batman's orders, and he basically makes every mission more dangerous for the both of them. This all comes to a head in Batman 424, where he basically murders an abuser who didn't get caught. He shows up at the guy's apartment and pretty much throws him out the window to his death. And when Batman shows up, he says he went to confront him and the guy slipped. Batman is obviously not stupid, so when Jason gets back to the Batcave, he puts an end to Jason Todd as Robin and fires him on the spot. Jason predictably doesn't take this well and goes off on a journey to find his mother, who he finds out is still alive in the Middle East somewhere. And this sets the stage for Death in the Family. Now, I know this story is a monumental moment for the Batman mythos, but I do feel like there are some things that keep it from being great. Don't get me wrong, it's still a classic Batman story, but I do have some problems with it. My first problem is, as much as I like Jim Apato's work on Batman, I feel like the dark nature of this story would have benefited by having a different artist. There's nothing wrong with Apato's work, the guy was a legend, but I just don't think the way his Joker was drawn works with the horrific acts he pulls off in this storyline, and it just looks weird because his Joker looks more like a throwback to the Golden Age, so it's strange to see that more kid-friendly looking villain murdering Robin with a crowbar. I don't know, it just doesn't really work with the dark nature of this comic. I also think Jim Starlin is great as well. He did some of the best cosmic stuff over at Marvel, created Thanos, Gamora, and a lot of the Marvel characters that people know from the movies. But in this story, I feel like there were too many things that happened with Robin going to the Middle East to find his mother, and the Joker also going there to sell a weapon to terrorists. And then you have Batman on his trail and he ends up bumping into Jason there. It's just too much of a coincidence that all these things happen at the same time. And that took me out of it a little bit. I should just mention really quick, the other groundbreaking thing that happened around this time was the fans got to decide the fate of Robin, because there were a lot of letters to the creators pretty much just showing their disdain for Jason Todd as a character. So, like I said, they had a choice whether to keep him alive or kill him, and the fans unanimously voted to kill him, which is pretty crazy. So with that being said, I feel like Starlin maybe had some trouble trying to find a scenario for Robin to be murdered, and he ended up making a little bit of a convoluted story to get there, but I don't know, maybe that's just me. And Superman is pretty much there to cool Batman down, and he also tells him that there's nothing they could do to prove that he killed Robin, and the Joker's allowed to go to this UN meeting. So this whole time, Superman is trying to stop Batman from going over the edge, and there's this great little section where Batman gets so frustrated with Superman that he throws a punch and almost breaks his hand, and you find out that Superman made it so Batman didn't get the full brunt of his face. Otherwise, it could have been way worse. So when Joker finally shows up, Batman knows he's going to try something. And another part that I thought was really cool was when the Joker releases his poison into the room and Superman is there to suck it all up into his body and fly out of the building to blow it all out somewhere where it can't harm anyone. And it was a clever way for Superman and Batman to work together, but obviously Joker ends up getting away, and the aftermath of this story is really depressing, even for Batman. There are a lot of standalone issues after this, but the main through line is Batman going through the mourning process, even in stories like Year 3, which I'll get to next in this series. So yeah, obviously this is a huge moment for Batman, and it has such a lasting impact, but it definitely is not without its flaws. Don't get me wrong though, it is still a very worthwhile read, especially if you're a Batman completist. So please be sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this content, and thanks for watching. Hey everyone, it's Ron here with a quick announcement. When I started this channel, I was reading and reviewing the Dune books and other sci-fi related material, and most of you might not know that I'm also a musician. So when I was reading these sci-fi books, I started to get inspired and decided to make my own soundtrack to use for my videos, and now I'm excited to tell you all about the first volume in the Ron Reviews original soundtrack collection. This album includes the first 17 tracks featured on my channel, and it's available now exclusively on Bandcamp. Be sure to check the description of this video for the link to the album. Thanks so much for the support so far. I know I'm just starting out, but I hope you're having as much fun as I am. So check out the original soundtrack Volume 1 on Bandcamp. This music is great if you want something moody and atmospheric to listen to while you're reading some science fiction. I think you're going to love it. Thanks.